Hello, folks. Welcome to Jeremy Hadler's YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jeremy Hadler, and today we still continue with our GOAT series on defensive tackles. Now we move from special teams into defensive tackles. And on today, we'll be having a special guest, Phil Rondeau. Thank you, Phil, for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. You know, when you think about the defensive tackle position, I mean, you think you need someone big, muscular, and quick, you know?
Yes, that is the three things you need to know about our defensive tackle. And Phil's our expert on defensive tackles. That's why we brought him in here today, folks. So what we're doing in this video is doing defensive tackles. And as we've done it for the last couple episodes, we're going to have an honorable mention. We're going to have our top 5 guys in it. At the end of the video, we're going to choose our ultimate GOAT. So that's how it's going to go through. And this is not ranked. All right. So now we go to defensive tackle here, as I've just mentioned before. Phil, what is a defensive tackle?
Okay, well, defensive tackle, as I said, they need three big things, key things being large and in charge,
Mm-hmm.
uh, able to grab attention, and be very quick. And what makes a great defensive tackle is one that keeps the offense's attention so that the defensive ends have more rain to get sacks. And although the defensive tackles, they don't get big numbers in the stat sheets, they're extremely important for applying pressure.
Mm-hmm. Now, as we get to honorable mention here, this is Phil's one of his favorite players of all time. And this is the reason why, folks, if you don't know, he's a Houston Texas fan. This is the reason why he became a Houston Texas fan. And folks might be wondering why. Why would this player make him become a fan of the Houston Texans? Well, Phil will say that right after I mention the player's name, and that is Vince Wilfork. Vince Wilfork, here at honorable mention, played 13 seasons with the Patriots and Texans, 11 with the Pats, 2 with the Texans. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Congrats on that. He made the first team All-Pro once, made the second team All-Pro 3 times. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, made the 2000 and 2010 All-Decade team. He's in the Patriots Hall of Fame, so congrats on that. His stats, folks, he has 560 tackles, 16 sacks, 27 passes deflected, 12 fumble recoveries, 3 interceptions. That's very rare for defensive tackle, folks. You can go ask BJ Raji about that. 5 forced fumbles. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet, but he will be soon. Phil, why is he your favorite player?
He's my favorite player because he's just entertaining to watch. I mean, the way he was able to apply pressure and close gaps was really impressive. And you know, he's got good taste in food as well. Have you seen photos of him? He has good meals.
That's
He
good.
eats like a champ.
Mm-hmm. So Vince Wilfork, folks, was a huge, big man, as Phil just basically just said. Big man that nobody appreciates, the big man when they're on the football field. I love defensive tackles. Vince Wilfork was a great player when I watched him growing up too. Very underrated guy. Never got the appreciation like Tom Brady would in a Patriots game. He needs the more appreciation than Tom Brady, obviously. But again, Vince Wilfork was a great player, as I like to mention before. Helped the Patriots win Super Bowl, helped be a part of that Patriots dynasty too, and have a great influence on the Texans by helping Phil become a Texans fan instead of a Patriots fan, which I'm happy that you're a Texans fan instead of a Patriots fan. So thank you for that, Phil. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't like Patriots fans, you know.
Exactly. Get the Patriot fans out of here. So we have that. Now moving to our top 5. Now we got, which is not ranked still, but this is our next player on the list, is Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp played 13 seasons with the Buccaneers and the Raiders. He's a 1-time Super Bowl champion, 1-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, 4-time First Team All-Pro, 2-time Second Team All-Pro, 7 Pro Bowls, made the 90s and the 2000s All-Decade team. So pretty good during that. Also made the All-Rookie team during his rookie year. He's in the Bucs Ring of Honor. He retired with the Bucs. His stats, folks: 573 tackles, 96.5 sacks, 19 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions, and he was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2013. This player, I would say, he was one of the best. We both never got to see him play really that much because we were very young. But when you watch his highlights, he was a beast on that field. He demolished, especially when you ask Brett Favre, that was one of Favre's worst players he had to face. That was one of the worst for him. But then again, Warren Sapp changed the field. He changed the game in the defense so much. So I have him here. But Phil, what are your thoughts on Warren Sapp?
Well, I mean, Warren Sapp, I mean, just to echo what you said, I mean, I'm just check his stat sheet. I mean, it's absolutely stacked. I mean,
Mhm.
he was just an incredible player, great on the field.
He was, especially during that Super Bowl with the Bucks Raiders one. That was pretty impressive too to see him
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
So that was very impressive of him. All right, now let's move on to our next player. That is John Randall. Now, most folks probably know John Randall for his face paint. He was a menace and he was terrorizing the field out there, folks. When you saw him come out of the locker room, you'd be terrified. Most players were terrified of seeing him out there. He would just get in your eyes and literally lock you down. He would win those eye contests, folks. He would win those. But John Randall played 14 seasons with the Vikings and the Seahawks. Always, as I mentioned before, had face paint on him every game, like in Seinfeld with David Putty. Wearing that jersey, he was the devil there, folks. But he wore face paint every game. He's a sixth first team All Pro, 7 Pro Bowls, 1-time NFL sacks leader, made the 90s All Decade team, and he made the 100th anniversary NFL team. So he made that. He's also in the Ring of Honor of the Vikings. His stats, folks, he had 471 tackles, 137.5 sacks. He is the second most all time for defensive tackle for sacks, 8 seasons with 10 sacks at least, and he was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2010. Phil, what are your thoughts about John Randall?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when you think about the fear factor of a player, I mean, John Randall was terrifying.
Yes.
And think about the mental that puts into the offense's mind. I mean, if you're scared of a player, that's going to affect the output.
Yeah. I mean, he would play for the Vikings, which I don't like the Vikings. I'm a Packers fan, folks. But he was very fun watching his highlights because of how, like, when you watch football, his football life video on NFL Network, it was pretty fun watching. Like, his energy on the field was like pretty fun and crazy. That's what I always like out of NFL players, and he made it fun just watching him and how he was doing it. So, yeah, John Randall was a great player, just like being approached, and he took the game very seriously and attacked it from the defensive tackle position and helped the Vikings get closer and closer to a Super Bowl. Didn't happen because they still have 0, folks. They still have 0. But he did help them get better in the franchise. He helped them get better. All right. Now let's move on to our next player. This guy also played with the Vikings. He played 15 seasons with the Vikings and the Chicago Bears, and that is Alan Page. He is one of 2 defensive players to win MVP. That's very rare, folks. He's a NFL champion, so this is before the Super Bowl, folks. Before. He's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Impressive. Made first team All Pro 6 times. He's a 3 second team All Pro. Again, impressive. He made 9 Pro Bowls. Again, impressive to me there. Made the 100th anniversary team. Made the 70s All Decade team. Made the Vikings Ring of Honor. He retired with the Vikings. He got inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1988. His stats, folks: 148.5 sacks, and he had 218 consecutive games without an absence. So he played 218 games straight without leaving the game and without that. So that's very impressive to me there. Phil, what are your thoughts on Alan Page?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just what you said there. That's really impressive. Being healthy for that long, I mean, that's key.
Phil, do you remember what that nickname of the Vikings defense was when he played?
The Purple People Eaters.
Yes, that is what he was known for, it being a purple people eater, folks. And he was very good, folks. I like to say. We didn't get to see much highlights of him because we weren't born. But when you did get to see a few highlights, very dominant in his position, which is what I always like, especially when I mentioned before of playing over 200 games without leaving. Very impressive too. So he was dominant and healthy because it's very rare for an NFL player to stay healthy most of his career. Very rare. So Alan Page, congrats of playing 238 games without being hurt there. But congrats on your career. I like to put him here in this conversation for the GOAT. Now let's move on to our next guy. This guy is known as Mean Joe. Mean Joe, folks. And if you're a Steeler fan out there, you would probably know him. And that is Joe Green. Played 13 seasons with the Steelers. A 4-time Super Bowl champion. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year he made in his rookie year. NFL Man of the Year. 5 first-team All-Pro. 3 second-team All-Pro. 10 Pro Bowls. 70s All-Decade team. Made the 75th and 100th anniversary team. Made the Steelers Hall of Fame and retired with the Steelers. His stats, folks: played 181 games, 77.5 sacks, 16 fumble recoveries, 1 interception, and he was the leader of the Steelers defense during that time of when the Steelers had a steel curtain. That's what their nickname was known for back in the 70s. And he was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 1987. What are your thoughts on him, Phil?
Oh, I mean, when you're talking about the GOAT conversation for defensive tackles, I mean, Mean Joe Green is always going to be in the conversation. I mean, he was just a monster on the field, and that whole defense was really monstrous. But just specifically him, I mean, just the insanity that he could apply to the quarterbacks was just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Joe Green, great player, and he was a great player on and off the field. He was very helpful off the field too, but he was just a fun player if you got to see him growing up, which none of us were alive during that time. But when you see his highlights and you look at his career and everything, pretty amazing to see what he did and what he accomplished during that time. And he was pretty much the leader of the Steelers during that time, the 70s, when the Steelers had that dynasty going on. So when I always think of Joe Green, I think it was one of the best defensive tackles. But we will get to later of what we think of our ultimate GOAT is. But Joe Green has to be in the conversation, I feel like, in this. He has to be in it. But Joe
Absolutely.
Green, he is a phenomenal, he's a menace out there, folks. A menace is what I like to always call him. And I know I didn't get to mention the Frank Gore yet. That was Alan Page, folks, just to mention before, that was Alan Page. But we could have a new person. That is our next person, which is Aaron Donald. Everyone should know him by now. If you ever see how big he is, you can go look on the internet and see his workout training. Very big man, very big man. But he's one of the strongest NFL players I've ever seen of all time. Played 9 seasons with the St. Louis and Los Angeles Rams right now, but he's still playing. He's still playing, folks. He's a 1-time Super Bowl champion. He just won the Super Bowl recently. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Again, impressive. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Made 7 first-team All-Pros, 9 Pro Bowls, 1-time NFL sacks leader, made the 2010 All-Decade Team, All-Rookie Team. His stats as of right now, 490 tackles, 103 sacks, 24 forced fumbles, 7 fumble recoveries, 8 pass deflections, and he will be in the Hall of Fame after he's done his career. He will be in the Hall of Fame. But what are your thoughts on him, Phil? As we've seen him, Aaron Donald, be a strong man and dominate this game.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you talk about significance on a team. Aaron Donald has it. It's just crazy. I mean, the offenses, I'm sure they all specifically try and target him to shut him down, and that just relieves pressure on the defensive line there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going off of that, yes, I know. Like my team, when we played in the playoffs a couple years ago, we forced 2 of our offensive linemen to go right at him to block it, and that created trouble for the Packers a bit there. But he's a influence and an enforcer on that line, and can impact the game so much. He can absolutely impact the game. And as you mentioned before, it helps the defense out. Yes, with you have an extra guys, you can have another safety blitz or something. He can get past 2 guys if they're trying to block him. He still can get past that. So Aaron Donald is as I mentioned before, Joe Green, he's a menace out there. He's unstoppable. And the only time you can really stop Aaron Donald if he's hurt, because nothing can really stop him. It's only him. But yeah, Aaron Donald, he will be in the Hall of Fame soon, but he's one of the strongest players and one of the best players I've watched in my life. So got him there. But Phil, who is your ultimate GOAT, as I like to always ask?
Yeah, I mean, ultimate GOAT. We have a lot of great players on this list, but ultimately, I think Aaron Donald takes the cake. I mean, again, he's just incredible. I mean, the significance of this player. I mean, just able to cut through the offensive line, and again, just they try and double team it. It doesn't seem to really matter.
Yeah, I also agree. I'm surprised you took Aaron Donald. I thought you would have took Vince Wilfork. I would have thought that, but no. I also got Aaron Donald here. He's just a menace out there, and this is probably for me more recency bias, just because I've seen Aaron Donald play compared to Joe Green. But what Aaron Donald has done in the 9 seasons he's played in the NFL, that's incredible. How he's done of winning Super Bowl, all the statistics, all the achievements of Cross. That's one of the most dominant I've seen out of like their position. That's just how it's done. So I have Aaron Donald here. And as Phil mentioned before, nothing can stop him. Nothing can really stop him. If you try to double team him, he can get through you. It's like having a brick wall like this. And he can literally slam through that right now. He's Superman out there, folks. He's just absolutely Superman. So to wrap it up, folks, we got Aaron Donald as our ultimate GOAT. Phil's favorite player on this list is Vince Wilfork, as I like to say. So we have that. But folks, thank you again for tuning in to this episode. This was Defensive Tackles. Leave your thoughts of who do you think is the GOAT for the defensive tackles. What players do you think we got right? Do you wrong? Who should have been mentioned in the list? Leave your thoughts below. But before we leave here, leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Phil, thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it. As a defensive tackler specialist, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good time. Had fun.
Thank you. But folks, we will see you on our next GOAT series. We still continue with the defensive side. I haven't decided yet of what position I want to go through. Bye now till next time, folks. Bye now till next time.